Most people imagine a president as someone who sits behind a desk, busy signing documents or delivering speeches to the public. But imagine if there were a president who, in between his official duties, put on boxing gloves and sparred with his opponents inside the White House. This is the story of Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th President of the United States, who was not only known for his progressive policies but also for his passion for boxing. From a young age, Roosevelt was an energetic man who loved physical activity. However, his childhood was marked by physical weakness. He suffered from severe asthma, which often made it difficult for him to breathe. Instead of succumbing to his condition, he decided to train his body to become stronger. His father encouraged him to exercise, and from that moment on, Roosevelt began practicing various sports, including boxing. As he grew older, his interest in combat sports deepened, and boxing became a key part of his routine. Even after becoming president, he maintained his boxing habit. During his presidency from 1901 to 1909, Roosevelt often invited professional boxers and members of his staff to spar with him inside the White House. He believed that sports were the best way to maintain both physical and mental fitness, especially given the immense pressures of the presidency. Many aides, advisors, and even government guests witnessed Roosevelt putting on his boxing gloves and training in a small ring he had set up inside the executive mansion. However, his love for boxing did not always go smoothly. One of the most famous incidents in Roosevelt's boxing history occurred during a sparring session with a young fighter at the White House. During the match, his opponent accidentally landed a powerful punch to his face, striking him directly in the left eye. As a result of the blow, Roosevelt suffered severe retinal damage, which eventually left him nearly blind in that eye. Despite the seriousness of the injury, he never regretted boxing. Instead, he sought out other sports to maintain his active lifestyle. After his eye injury, Roosevelt turned to judo and jiu-jitsu, Japanese martial arts that were still relatively unknown to most Americans at the time. He even invited judo experts from Japan to the White House to train him, making him one of the first world leaders to take a serious interest in Asian martial arts. For Roosevelt, sports were not just a hobby but a core part of his life philosophy. He believed that a true man should be strong both physically and mentally, and that boxing and martial arts were the best ways to develop both. Roosevelt's love for sports and his fighting spirit reflected his leadership style, firm, fearless, and full of determination. As president, he was known as a man unafraid to face challenges, whether in the political arena or in the boxing ring. To this day, his boxing stories in the White House remain a legendary part of his presidency. He was not just a leader but a true fighter, both in the literal and symbolic sense. Theodore Roosevelt was no ordinary president. He not only reshaped American policies but also changed the way the world viewed leadership. To him, leadership was not just about speeches and political decisions but also about physical endurance, courage, and an unyielding spirit. And his story of boxing in the White House is one of the many proofs that a leader can be strong not only in words but also in action. Want to discover more fascinating stories about world leaders? Don't forget to follow Secrets of World History and uncover unique facts that changed history.